Leah, welcome to your weekly horoscope for April 27th to May 3rd, 2026. My name's Adina. I'm an intuitive astrologer. Leo, this week is asking you to get real about your direction, your career, your public image, and the life you are actively building. But more importantly, it's asking you to reconcile that external path with your internal truth. Because success that isn't aligned will never feel stable. And this week is where that truth becomes very clear. On April 28th, we have Venus in Gemini forming a trine to Pluto in Aquarius. This is activating your 11th house of friendships, social circles, community, and long term goals, and your 7th house of relationships, one on one connections, and partnerships. This is powerful alignment between your network and your one on one connections. This is you forming meaningful, transformative connections that support your future. Conversations within your relationships or even your social circles could feel a lot deeper, more intentional, and more aligned with where you're going. This is where collaborations become powerful. You may meet someone or deepen a connection that shifts your trajectory. But you do have to be careful of power dynamics, trying to control how others show up or feeling controlled by someone else's expectations. You don't need to force alignment. You need to recognize where it already exists because the right people will meet you in your growth, not resist it. Then we get to April 29th, and we have Venus in Gemini forming a T square to the lunar nodes. The South Node is currently in your second house of money and self worth and personal values, and the North Node is currently in your eighth house of shared resources, intimacy, and transformation. This is a karmic crossroads around value. This is tension between what feels safe and what requires vulnerability. This is you recognizing where you've been holding on to control financially, emotionally, or even energetically. You may realize that your attachment to independence or self reliance has been limiting deeper connection or growth. And the North Node is asking you to trust, to share, to open, to allow yourself to experience depth, even if it feels uncomfortable. You do have to watch for fear of loss, resistance to vulnerability, or holding on to what you have instead of allowing transformation. You need to ask yourself, is this truly secure or just familiar? Then we get to May 1st, and this is the emotional peak of the week because we have the full moon in Scorpio activating your fourth house of home, family roots, and emotional foundation. This is a deeply personal culmination. This is actually clarity. This is you seeing the truth of your emotional world, your home environment, your family dynamics, your inner stability. You may feel ready to release something that has been weighing on you emotionally, or you may be ready to make changes that support your sense of security. This is emotional truth, but you do have to be careful of intensity, emotional overwhelm, feeling triggered by family or past experiences. Something may come to the surface that you've been avoiding, but this is not here to destabilize you. This is here to free you. Now, on the same day, we're also going to have Venus in your 11th house forming a sextile to Saturn in your ninth house of beliefs and expansion. This is grounding your vision. This is alignment between your future goals and your belief system. This is you connecting with people who support your growth, who challenge you in healthy ways, and who align with your long term vision. This is where your future begins to feel more structured. But you do have to be careful of limiting yourself based on old beliefs, doubting whether you can actually achieve what you envision. You need to trust your expansion because your vision is valid, but it requires commitment. Then we get to May 2nd, and we have Mercury entering Taurus. This is activating your 10th house of career, reputation, and public image. This is a shift into practicality. After a week of emotional processing and relational insight, this is where you begin to think strategically about your path. This is clarity in your career. This is grounded decision making. This is intentional communication in your professional life. And you may even be focused on building something stable and long term. This is where you take control of your direction. However, you do have to be careful of over fixation on image, making decisions based on how things look rather than how they feel. You need to align your external success with your internal truth because if it doesn't feel right, it won't last. So, Leo, this week is about emotional truth, relational alignment, and grounded decisions. You are being asked to release what is no longer supporting your foundation and to step into a more aligned version of your path. And that requires honesty because you cannot build a future that fulfills you if it's not rooted in truth.